Check that out. That is so cool. Look at that. Look how much brush we can grab right there. That, my friends, is awesome. So welcome back, everybody. This is something I have been keeping a secret for months, and I am super excited to share it with our daily viewers or any of you that might be interested in something like this. So long story short, many months ago, I reached out to a company that works with us here on the channel, and I really enjoy working with baumalight. So I reached out to the company and said, hey, have you ever considered making a mini excavator grapple? Like, why don't you have one? Y'all make so many cool attachments. Well, that piqued their interest and they started asking questions. Long story short, I have had a unique opportunity for the last, I forget how many months, to get this number 1 of 1 right here, designed to my specs. I got to work with all the engineers. They brought me along through the entire process, and I've got to design from the ground up with the company. This right here, partly their vision, partly mine, and I am so blessed to have the first one here to test, to abuse, to beat up, to give feedback, and see if they want to bring a model to production. Huge shout out and thank you to baumalight for bringing this creation to fruition. I am in a unique circumstance here on social media with our property and the things that we do, having the contacts that I do, that I could be involved in a project like this. All right, so after some testing, this may be the exact model that goes to production, or we could find some issues. I could give some feedback to the company. They've actually done this before, by the way, with a stump grinder that I tested for them. Gave feedback, they made some changes. I really love that they listen. So I had some unique requests here. For one, I needed this to be able to grab up to 24-inch logs, so they designed this with that in mind. Now, in all reality, a machine this size with the long arm and all, I probably can't pick up big 24-inch diameter logs to go on my sawmill because it's just going to be too much weight for this machine. But shorter logs, yeah, I can pick them up. We'll go do a little testing here in just a minute. Also wanted a wide opening because I need this for brush cleanup. Y'all, we have tons of trails in the woods, which I've been waiting to go clear out and start plucking them clean with this. Being in a hurricane state, we get trees and limbs and brush blown down all the time. I didn't want this just for grabbing logs. I want this for actual hurricane and debris cleanup. So the wider the opening you get, the more tops and brush that have V's and splits that you can grab, and we can put in our dump trailer. We can sling out in the woods. We can clear trails. We can go do hurricane cleanup, all kinds of stuff. This right here can be a serious money maker. So we put all that in mind. But along with those requests comes some serious problems. If I'm wanting to lift 24-inch, over 2,000 pound logs, which again, we probably can't lift that much with a machine this size, all the rest of the components have to be rated to lift that, especially the rotator. So it took a little while to go through some specs, talk with some rotator companies, and find one that would be robust enough that could handle the types of weights that we're talking about picking up and give us longevity. There's been quite an involved process in pairing all this stuff up together. Now the rotator, that's very important. I don't want just a grapple, just be able to reach out and grab like a bucket and throw stuff. I mean, might as well use my bucket, other than this grabs quite a bit more. The ability to rotate, keep your machine still, grab brush over here, rotate it, maybe put it in a dump trailer is key. I can spin 360 degrees with this. So not only did I have a request for a specific size log, a specific weight that this could pick up, a large opening for brush, but I made it even harder on them and told them, oh, by the way, we've got to keep all this as lightweight as possible. These mini excavators, while yeah, they can lift a decent amount of weight, by the time you add all this to the front, all you're doing is taking away from whatever you can pick up. So I gave them like a 300+ pound range that I really wanted them to try to stay in. And somehow they met all my requests. So whenever I was helping design this, giving the specs and all, I had other people in mind as well. Not only is this designed for a 3.5 ton machine, but this could easily go up to a much larger tonnage machine. Again, I'm probably not even going to be able to pick up the weight that this was designed for. That's okay, you can grow into this. And I didn't want the company creating something that was just going to keep them tied into, say, a 3-ton machine. I'll let them give the rating on how high they feel comfortable rating this to, but everything is built so robust here and designed carefully. No doubt those of y'all with larger machines than mine, this will handle your needs. We've designed that into it. It's rated as a 51-inch opening, if you're curious about that. The rotator itself is a ball rotator, very nice rotator. That's an extremely important assembly. It's got a very, very robust cylinder in here for clamping. All this was also designed with specific clamping forces in mind. So say you clamp down on a couple 1,000-pound log, it's designed to hold that pressure and not allow any slippage, so it's not dangerous on you. You don't always have to hold the thumb down, so to speak. You can see they make these right here in-house. Don't worry about that. Whatever machine you have, you just order that plate in with it whenever these become available. Now I'm going to cut back to a scene right here. Y'all are going to see that it came in. I had to design my own hoses. That's all going to be machine dependent. So because we have a hydraulic crimper in the shop now, I already knew this was coming months ago. That's the reason I got me a hydraulic crimper. Maybe up 2 short hoses, very, very simplistic. They had this ready to just plumb in 2 hoses. That was it. But because this is quite unique, well, the hoses aren't it. Let me show you what I had to do to give y'all a creative idea here that might help you if you decide to get an Excavator Grapple. So what we have in here is a diverter valve, much like you'll see that I just installed for a 3rd function to run a grapple on a tractor. I'm starting to get very, very familiar with these. Well, in order to run multiple functions off of one set of hoses, again, we can clamp, we can spin around, you've got to be able to change a diverter valve in here. It's got like a magnetic control right here that pulls a plunger in and out that either sends the flow to clamping or it sends the flow to spinning around. Well, I had to run a wire. That's activated by a simple 12 volts. So I run a wire all the way up. By the way, I'm very pleased with the way all this come out. I went ahead and wrapped everything because this is probably going to wind up rubbing on some brush with the type of clearing I'm due. And I ran that wire all the way down the top of the boom, along right here with all the factory hoses, right into here, inside. So Baumalight shipped this with a cab switch. There's an actual switch that you can plug literally in a cigarette lighter, engage it, and then it changes whatever your function is. It just activates the solenoid up front. Well, here's something I wasn't crazy about with that, but at least that gives you an option. When you're running one of these excavators, you need to be swinging the house, the cab with this one right here. You need to be picking up, swinging it in and out, and I need to have my hand on the other joystick right here, working the thumb for clamping, for spinning, and again, moving boom functions. So I'm constantly needing to keep both hands on both controls. If I have to come over and flip a switch, it absolutely will work, but it'll slow down how smooth I am, the functions, and what all I can do at once. I literally will be running up to 4 controls at once, maybe 6 or 8 now that I think about it. So I had an idea. I don't use the horn on this machine, and I'm not telling you disconnect your horn. You could even put a switch in to have horn control or switch control. But right underneath here, this switch for the horn, well, I got to thinking this activates 12-volt circuit down to the horn. So I decided to wire into that. So now when I'm running this machine, I press my horn button. I work by myself on my own property, so I'm okay with this. And whenever I press and hold this button, it engages the solenoid up front. Then whenever I use my thumb controls, now it spins. When I let off of this button right here and use the same thumb control over here, my other joystick, now we're in clamping motions. So as I'm moving both joysticks, swinging over, say, a dump trailer or a log trailer, whatever that may be, I can spin the log in air while I'm moving my machine. Again, multiple functions is what I had in mind here. And then I can let off this. Now I'm working the clamp, drop it right in the trailer, and go swinging right back to work. The other cool thing about going to that is that's already a fuse circuit and has plenty of power to activate that little magnetic plunger in there. We're going to release a video here before long, and I'm going to explain why I am building my arsenal of equipment, towing, and things that I have. We just don't never know what the future holds, and I'm ready to not only work on this property, other properties, but go earn an income as well. And I'm telling you, something like this, especially with all the storms and hurricane cleanup we have, I could make a killing with one of these. All right, sorry y'all, it's kind of some weird shade going on over here. It may mess with the camera a little, but I just wanted to introduce you to this. Let's go ahead and start grabbing some logs. So not only is this for logs, but it's for brush as well. All right, so now I can just hit that cab button and then activate my thumb switch, and we can spin around as fast as we want or just about as slow as we want. That's just going to be so nice. So now you can see I can line up with this log over here, reach down, pick it up. Look at that. Now imagine if I had a dump trailer over here to my right. Again, I can just press this button and I can swing this log. And maybe put it in a dump trailer. I got to learn to try to keep my load hanging straight up and down as much as I can. That'll put the least amount of stress on that rotator. Check that out. That is so cool. Drop that off over there. And let's go to probably about the biggest log that I can pick up with this machine right here. This is a very, very heavy log, especially getting it way out in front of this machine. And I've got the long arm on this machine as well, which kind of goes against me for lifting. But as you can see, we can lift it. And if I needed to, we can spin it. I'm going to go nice and slow on a log this big. And speaking of, you see how much rotating force and momentum we have right here? We had to design that into the rotator as well. That's why we reached out to the rotator company during the design process of this, and we were talking about, you know, length of log, size, weight. So whenever we're doing this spinning motion right here and you just say let off like that, well, the log wants to still continue to go around. That puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the inside. So they've got all kinds of little pressure relief valves and things built in. So much slip and stop, and I can't even tell you all the terminology. So we had to sit there and kind of design all that in so they can make sure they were designing and making a reliable product. So y'all, when I say there's been months and months of design work that has went into this, I'm not kidding at all. This wasn't just a slap together project. And the fact that they're going to let me sit here and just abuse and test this and give all the feedback, I love it. That's the way companies should be designing products. Lots of beta testing, abuse, taking feedback, and a long design process, trying to calculate in anything that could go wrong. All right, this is going to be a huge help for me down here in my burn pit. I need to bunch up brush. Plus, you can see I'm already throwing some brush back in here. It's the closest brush pile that I have to grab. So let's see how much stuff we can lift and kind of test it out on that big 51-inch grapple function. Look at that. Look how much brush we can grab right there. That, my friends, is awesome. Now imagine me getting a whole bunch of brush like that and putting it over in a dump trailer, for example. Oh, heck yeah. I love how wide this opens. It's definitely going to help me with treetops, brush, things like that. Alright, this is just too cool. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do what I want to do. Brush all the way out in the middle. Start building my pile up. Something I have always wanted to do. It's something I have needed to do because the pile don't always burn down like you'd like. Alright, look at there. I'm grabbing tiny stuff. So you can see we can clamp all the way down to something that small, which is great. all the way up to way over 20-inch logs. Man, I can get a long reach with this. So situations like this, clearing out trails is where this is going to help. Vines, all kinds of stuff. But we have some heavy hurricane cleanup to do here before long. You see this trail's got a old dead tree that's blown over in it. So let's see if we can pull it out and shove it out in the woods somewhere. I mean, you can't make a bucket go at that angle. How awesome is that? Look at how awesome that is. You certainly aren't doing that with a bucket. Pulling at really odd angles. That's too cool. Just too cool. All right, well, this is a good initial test. We already got some scratches on it and scuffs, putting it to use. Thus far, with a little bit of playing around, I don't see anything bent, no problems. But the real test is going to be what's coming up here. In one of the next videos, we're diving out in the woods, and I don't know what it is. Actually, I do know what it is because I love it so much. But so many of our viewers love trail clearing, cleaning, creating new trails, and just general woods cleanup. I guess it's all the equipment, the chainsaws and everything else that you run, plus I just love being out in nature. So that's going to be coming up right here. We're going to be working the rest of the winter going all through the woods, first blazing trails, then going back, cherry picking logs that we can actually use for firewood or for the sawmill. We'll be rebuilding the trail itself, putting in culverts, fixing up some clay holes that we don't want swallowing equipment whenever the rain eventually decides to come back, and then general maintenance and upkeep of the trail, so all throughout the rest of my life we can go out there and allow the woods to pay us back, again via firewood and sawmill logs. All right, feel super blessed to have this. I cannot wait to continue to test and share this with you and provide feedback to the company. How awesome is it? One of one sitting right here on the front of my machine. From concept all the way to final design, it's just been awesome being a part of this. We'll catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. We could not do the things that we do and have the lifestyle that we do without y'all. We do not take you and our sponsors for granted.